Deputy Vice Chancellor Academic, Deputy Vice Chancellor Research, Innovation and Scientific Population, Registrar, Bossa, University Library, Provost of the Faculty of Medicine, Deans of faculties and students, Directors of History and Science, the 12th Vice Chancellor of the University of Ibadan, heirs of the department, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. The 46th Investor of the lecture series titled The Paradox of Human Behaviour will be delivered by Professor O.B Ehigie of the Department of Psychology, Faculty of Institutional Sciences. O.B Ehigie was born on Sunday, 18th July 1965 at Sapele Town in Delta State, then Banda State, as a fifth son to the family of late Mr. O.B Ehigie Awosila and Mrs. Mary Awosila Ni Oseki of Usen Town in Ovia South West Local Government Area, Edo State. He attended Ayomana Primary School, Sapele, from 1971 to 1977. Erosa Grammar School, Benin City, 1977 to 1982, and the University of Nigeria, Suka, 1982 to 1986, where he studied psychology and made a second-class honors degree, upper division. Following his first-year academic performance in the university, he won the Federal Government Bravery Award of a military valor, and the award was sustained throughout his 4-year course program by maintaining the grade point average level for the award. Well, I think he deserves an applause. Osaya Benjamin had his NYC at Ameke HN, then Imo State from 1986 to 1987, and proceeded to the University of Ibadan for his master's degree in Industrial and Organizational Psychology 1987 to 1988. He made the best result in his master's degree case. This resulted in his appointment as teaching assistant in the department from 1988 to 1990. He thus joined the Department of Psychology in 1988 at the age of 23 years, and later gained assistant lecturer position in January 25, 1990. While he advanced for a part-time PhD degree, which was finally awarded in 1993. He moved on the academic ladder to the status of professor on October 1, 2006, at the age of 41 years. Professor Ehigie has served the University of Ibadan in various capacities. As a faculty subdean, postgraduate 1999 to 2001, acting head of department 2005-2007, and substantive head of department 2013 to 2017. Member of the University of Ibadan Senate Committee 2013 to 2015, and chairman from 2015 to 2017. All master Balewa All 2010 to 2013, and is the current dean of the Faculty of Visual Sciences, with about 7 months remaining to hand over. He has assisted other departments in the university as associate lecturer in a Master in Business Administration MBA program of the School of Business, Master in the then Industrial and Personal Relations MIPR program of the Department of Sociology, and Master in Development Practice MDP program of Center for Sustainable Development. He has served as visiting professor to other universities in Nigeria, including Benue State University in Makurdi, Covenant University Ota, University of Ilorin, and the University of Benin City. Professor Ehigie has supervised several undergraduate, master, and professional degree holders, and more than 25 PhD graduates at the University of Benin. At the University of Ibadan, Covenant University, and Benue State University in Makurdi. Among the PhD degree holders, 5 are now full professors, while 2 others are associate professors. The professors include the current head of the department, Professor A. Alarape, the University of Ibadan Curriculum Committee Chairman, Professor Edwin Shenwe, the immediate past National President of the Nigerian Psychological Association, NP, Professor Oluka Olafolabi, the immediate past Dean, Faculty of Social Sciences, University of Ede, Professor Shola Akinbola, and other highly placed personnel in other sectors. Professor Ehigie is an associate editor of African Journal for the Psychological Study of Social Issues. He was the editor of Nigerian Journal of Psychology, a publication of Nigerian Psychological Association from 2000 to 2004. He was the editor of Ibadan Journal of Social Sciences, a Faculty of Social Sciences Journal, University of Ibadan, from 2010 to 2013. He is an international affiliate member of the Society for Industrial and Modern Psychology, SIOP, an affiliate of the American Psychological Association, APA, member of Society of Personality and Social Psychology, a fellow of the Nigerian Psychological Association, a chartered psychologist, and the first and outing national coordinator of Nigerian Association of Industrial and Modern Psychologists. Professor Ehigie was the director, psychological testing and test construction of the Nigerian Psychological Association, NPA, from 2016 to 2017, a fellow of the Institute of Management Consultants, and a certified management consultant of the International Council of Management Consulting Institute. As part of his consulting services, Professor Ehigie designed the guideline for the development of corruption scale for ICPC, sponsored by Development Policy Center, DPC Ibadan. He executed a customer satisfaction marketing research project for British Oxygen Company, BOC Lagos, serving as a psychometric consultant to Dragnet Solutions Limited, Lagos. Professor Ehigie developed and validated a workplace personality inventory, a standardized personality assessment tool for personnel recruitment, selection, and placements. As a psychometric consultant to the International Psychometric Center, IPC, in 2022, he was engaged in a joint committee with the National Board for Technical Education, NBTE, that developed the curriculum on psychometrics as a general studies course for the National Board for Technical Education and the National Commission for Colleges of Education. Professor Ehigie served as a lead consultant to the UI Consultant Services in conducting promotion examinations and interview for candidates aspiring for promotion to permanent secretary positions, and employment examination for applicants for lower positions. Professor Ehigie has participated severally in NUC accreditation as a panel member and chair, served as excellent examiner to a number of universities in Nigeria, Ghana, and South Africa. He has assessed papers for several promotions at professional level for different universities in Nigeria. Professor Ehigie was a co-recipient of a grant by the Federal Ministry of Health and Social Services, UNDP, and WHO, research on the social psychological factors determining participation in community-based infertility treatment of onchocerciasis. Twice recipient of the University of Ibadan research grants in 1995, and researched on manifest needs ingredients behavior of workers in commercial bank industry. And in 1997, on social psychological factors determining fraudulent practices among black workers in Nigeria. He was also a co-recipient of the University of Senate Research Grant for a good project in 1999 and research on the development and standardization of health locus of control scale. Professor Ehigie won the visiting international scholar position in Dickinson College, Pennsylvania, USA, where he taught psychology. And while there, he also introduced consumer psychology as a teaching course. He subsequently won a scholarly and creative research grant to study customer expectations, perceived service performance, satisfaction and loyalty, a survey of Dickinson College services for students in the United States. Professor Ehigie also won the State Research Methods Inclusive Research Methodologies case study writing competition twice with monetary benefits. He won the 2025 Technology Based Research Grant as a principal investigator to research on enhancing the mental health of SMEs via psychological empowerment. The Education Collaborative West African Hub awarded him a learning exchange visit to South Africa for the first quarter of 2026. Professor Ehigie's area of teaching and research is industrial and organizational psychology, where most of his publications are in consumer and marketing psychology and psychometrics. He has more than 150 publications. Including 6 books, 20 book chapters, 20 monographs, and others are journal articles in local and international journals. Professor Ehigie delivered the 14th University of the Faculty of Social Sciences lecture in 2006, the 5th University of the Multicultural lecture in 2016, the 20th anniversary lecture of the North and anniversary of the Church of Nigeria in 2018, the maiden multicultural lecture for Precious Cornerstone University Ibadan in 2019, a guest lecturer at the 2019 certified list of auctioneers of Nigerian induction. He delivered the 477 inaugural lecture of this university and is to deliver today the 46th University of Ibadan Trilogy of Lectures. and considering available lectures to be delivered in the rest of them. The only outstanding one is waiting to deliver his valedictory lecture. Professor Ehigie is a lover of Christian music. He was a chorister and choir master. He is presently a clergyman with the Ibadan Anglican Diocese. He was on December 25, 2025, preferred and promoted to the status of an archdeacon, venerable by God's grace. Professor Ehigie is happily married to Dr. Mrs. Rebecca Ehigie, and the family is blessed with 4 wonderful children, 2 boys and 2 girls, balanced equipped. I now invite Professor Osayari Benjamin Ehigie to deliver his first lecture in theology with the topic Managing Workplace Behavior. Professor Ehigie.
The Vice Chancellor, represented by the Deputy Vice Chancellor Administration, Deputy Vice Chancellor Academic, Deputy Vice Chancellor Research Innovation and Strategic Partnerships, RIPS, the Registrar, Bolsa, University Librarian, Provost, College of Medicine, Provost College, Postgraduate College, the Dean of the Faculty of the Social Sciences, Deans of other faculties and of students, directors of institutes and centers, heads of departments, distinguished guests, colleagues, students, ladies and gentlemen, very much happy and elated to present the 46th University of Ibadan lectures. And as mentioned, I want to use this opportunity to appreciate the university management for this privilege given unto me to present this lecture, and as well prospectively appreciate the management of this university for the several public lectures in this university which I was given the opportunity to deliver, including the inaugural lecture, the matriculation lecture, which I want to really appreciate the 12th Vice Chancellor of this university who invited me for that, the faculty lecture. People asked severally, you have delivered the inaugural lecture. What kind of lecture are you delivering again? I said it's university lecture. And 3, I said yes, that is the culture of University of Ibadan. And they said, no wonder, University of Ibadan is the first and the best. University lecture is one of the public lectures delivered at the University of Ibadan, basically by those who have attained the status of professor. Before today's lecture, 45 lectures have been delivered, as you can find in Table 1. The first series of lectures was delivered in May 1973 by Professor Anyodele of the Faculty of Arts in the Silver Jubilee year of the university in 1973. That was 25 years after the establishment of the university. From the Faculty of the Social Sciences, before today, 4 lectures, university lectures, have been delivered. The first was by Professor Marvin Goje of Geography Department, Professor Ude of Geography Department, Professor Fanny Owa of Geography Department, Professor Kayode of Economics Department. And today, this year, Professor Osayari Benjamin Ehigie is delivering the 5th lecture, university lecture from Faculty of the Social Sciences. And be informed that this is 24 years after the last was delivered from the faculty. And the title is The Paradox of Human Behaviour. What is behavior? Behavior is what psychology is centered on. Behavior has to do with response towards stimuli. And this stimuli will emerge both internally and externally. If behavior is response or responses to stimuli, it means the study of psychology is concerned with living things, because a dead being cannot respond to any sensory stimulus. If you have a dead person, just take the tip of a pin, pierce it, the dead body will not respond. puts a coal of fire on the dead body, the dead body will not respond. There's only the living that can respond to sensory stimuli. And that is why the study of behavior by psychologists has to do with evaluating and assessing individual differences with variations in behavior. Now, because psychologists are interested in studying responses to stimuli, both externally and internally, psychology is a discipline that is concerned with behavior, which is both covert behavior and overt behavior. Overt is observable behavior, while covert is inward, unobservable behavior. For instance, if I should say, stand up, or stand in this hall, some people will stand, some others might not stand. Why? Because their minds, they are not here. They might not have responded to this external stimulus because they are external stimulus, because they are responding to internal stimulus. That's why psychologists try to understand not just external behavior, but internal behavior. And this is made possible through the use of psychological tests. Psychologists are not magicians. Some people say psychologists, they study human mind. Not necessarily so, because we are not magicians. As scientists, the way we can understand behavioral processes in an individual is the use of psychological tests. With psychological tests, you can decipher what people are having or processing in their mind. Today, we shall be considering workplace behavior. What is a workplace? A workplace is a location where individuals are engaged in economic activities with the aim of generating resources for their maintenance. And it is inevitable for man to be involved in work. That is why even in the Bible in 2 Thessalonians chapter 3 verse 10 says, he that does not work, neither should he eat. So work is part of life. So I'm going to use the work pattern in the Bible to illustrate what work behavior in the workplace is. Taking a consideration at the first workplace we have on earth, which is the Garden of Eden. In the Garden of Eden, God created man and gave man authority to take charge of the plants and every other animal that was in the garden. Then an organization had not been formed, because an organization is comprised of two or more people who take charge with the aim of achieving a particular goal. Now, considering the fact that one single individual cannot constitute an organization, God decided to create another, and that is Eve. And that brings into play a factor in human resource management, which is diversity. Diversity has to do with variety of people working in an organization. By creating a woman, gender diversity was put in place. Following that, when Eve was created, like the word of God says in the Bible, Genesis 2:18, says, I will make a helper suitable to him. Being suitable is just a display or a showcasing of employee placement. Employee placement is when an individual and his components are considered, and the individual is considered fit for a particular job. So when Eve was created, the aim was that she would be somewhat suitable for Adam and the work. However, to control behavior, as we have in organizations, rules and policies were made. And one of it was that man was told in Genesis 2:16, it says, you are free to eat from any tree in the garden, but you must not eat from the tree of knowledge of good and evil. However, the first paradox of behavior occurred when, after God, the employer of labor at that particular setting, had given an instruction, the serpent came and gave the contrary instruction. You shall not surely die, for God does know that in the day you eat thereof, then shall your eyes be opened, and you shall be as God, knowing good and evil. That was a paradox. Man was faced with paradox. God says don't eat, and serpent came and said eat. There was contradiction. Which of the directions should I take? And that is what paradox is all about. And that led to counterproductive behavior. When man disobeyed, that originated counterproductive behavior, and the consequence was punitive measures. And with these punitive measures, an organizational structure was now set up in that garden, whereby the woman was told, your desire will be for your husband, and he will rule over you. That originated organizational structure. And that is why some of us, we are industrial organizational psychologists, and we believe that our mentor is God, because he is the first organizational psychologist. And that leads us to the concept of paradox. What is paradox? Paradox is a term that evolved from a Greek word, paradoxes, meaning contrary to expectation. And a paradox is a behavior that is logically impossible and challenges conventional thinking, but it is the truth. Contrary to expectation, but it is the truth. In psychology, we refer to it as cognitive dissonance. There is cognitive dissonance when there is inconsistency in the components of humans' activities, which include the cognitive aspect, the emotional aspect, and the behavioral aspect. When an individual receives contrary information, the individual is under the condition of cognitive dissonance, and that is what paradox is all about. There is consonance when the three components of man, they work in harmony. Take a look at what happened recently to give you a view of what the behavioral paradox is. Recently, January 3, the Venezuelan president, Nicolas Maduro, was captured. And you imagine, he was captured, the first citizen of a country. And we believe that the first citizen of the country will have the highest level of security. There was no gunshot, yet he was moved. And the suspicion is that the bodyguards compromised. Why would they compromise? That is a paradox. It is expected, contrary to expectation, that is paradox. It was expected that the bodyguards will take care of his security. In this vein, we want to consider Nigeria as a country that is bedeviled with a lot of paradox issues. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, the issue of paradox is evident in Nigeria. First, there is a striking contradiction between Nigeria's vast potential in terms of highly religious and educated populace, gifted and resilient people, yet with persistent challenges of widespread poverty, corruption, rituals, unemployment, and insecurity. One will think that a country that has this enormous number of religious individuals go along the street, you will see the number of religious institutions. One would expect that a country like this will not suffer corruption, will not suffer challenges that have to do with threats to human existence. But what do we find is otherwise. It's a paradox. Nigeria was also a nation with immense human and natural resources, especially when we consider the deposits of crude oil and natural gas alongside the solid minerals like coal, iron ore, tin, limestone, bitumen, with even fertile land. Yet, Nigeria is considered as one of the nations that is suffering in poverty. Is it not a paradox? I think it is a paradox. If we consider in Nigeria today many organizations, businesses that fail, they are no longer in existence. It's not as if Nigeria does not have the population of consumers that will patronize these products. But what has happened? We consider companies like Procter & Gamble, Unilever, Nigeria PLC, Kimberly and Clark, and so on. They are no more in Nigeria. Is it that there were no consumers to buy? They are consumers, but what is responsible? It is a paradox. And if we consider as social life being, we are going to consider briefly some common paradoxes in human behavior. One is the behavior intention paradox. The behavior intention paradox is a paradox that has to do with self-deception. When there is a gap between people's intention, that is what they plan, which doesn't match with what they do. And we can see it amongst our politicians. They come when they are seeking for your vote. They say a lot of things, intention. But at the end, what do we find? Behaviors that are contrary. It is a paradox. We also have what we call people pleaser paradox. People pleaser paradox. Some people are always engaged in trying to please people at their own detriment. Even in our work environment here, when they need something from you, anything you ask them to do, they will do. And they greet you severally. They want to please you. Why? Because they are looking for something from you. But most times people who are main pleasers, they suffer some psychological distress. Because when they fail to get what they want, it becomes a problem. We also have what we call Solomon's paradox. Solomon's paradox has to do with people who are very good at advising people, but what they advise people on, they don't implement it. No wonder, even Jesus himself said, how will thou say to thy brother, let me pull out the mote out of thy eye, and behold, a beam is in thy eye. Some will say, let me advise you. By the time you turn back and see this person later, what the person is advising you on is what the person is doing. It is a paradox. We also have what we call intention paradox. That is when an individual proclaims an intention, but within the person, he knows that what he wants to do is different from what he or she is presenting. Again, the politicians cannot be left out of this. Political interests. I am interested because people have appealed to me to vie for this position. Is it actually true? Did they appeal to you, or you are just insinuating of some benefits you will get? I remember a voting situation in this university. Someone was vying for a position, and there were a group of people not wanting the person to occupy that position. And the candidates went to meet the strong person there and sought for nomination. The person signed the paper for nomination. Another person said, I saw your signature. He said, where your hand is it where your mind is? And the person said, no, it's only my hand that is there. My mind is not there. It's a paradox. It's a paradox. We also have what we call easy options paradox. Easy options, people are just looking for where they can ease out and get what they want. And that's why today we see many people. Today they say they are Christians because they want some benefits which they will get. Tomorrow they say they are Muslims because they have some benefits to get. I remember a musician, Sonny Okosu of blessed memory. He was the one, at the time he was singing Christian music, and the Christians were happy, jubilated that this man is born again, to the extent that he spoke in tongues in one of his music. After another time, he started covering himself. It was another music. It was Islamic music. He was now the easy option. He was just trying to market his business. We have what we call cathedral paradox. Cathedral paradox is paradox that has to do with contradictions of people who you think they are wealthy, but they have a lot of debts which they are owing. When some people die, it is there to know whether they are actually wealthy or they are not wealthy. It is referred to as cathedral paradox. Now to the workplace. At the workplace, there are more specific paradoxical behaviors. One of these is productivity paradox. Productivity paradox is when inputs and outputs, they are not balanced. A lot is invested in production, but the outcome is not commensurate with what has been put in. This is really a paradox. And we see farmers in Nigeria, they suffer this a lot. The farmers, they invest a lot. But unfortunately in Nigeria today, we don't know what is happening. The youths are very, very poor now. They are very poor. And I was reasoning, what could have happened? I remember in the Bible, Haggai 1:6, it said, he had planted much, but harvested little. What might be responsible? It's hypothetical. In Genesis chapter 4, verse 10b, listen to what I want to read. I said, the voice of thy brother's blood cried unto me from the ground. Now thou art cursed from the earth, which hath opened her mouth to receive thy brother's blood. When thou tillest the ground, it shall not henceforth yield unto thee her strength. In Nigeria today, there have been a lot of killings. Innocent blood going down the earth. There could be a correlation between this amount of blood going to this earth and the yields from our farms. That is why Nigerians, we need to sit tight and see what we can do. We have the hard work paradox. Some people have the work hard, but at the end, they do not see the fruits as they would expect. The wise man, one wise man was saying, I saw under the sun that the race is not to the sweet. He said, neither yet bread to the wise, nor yet riches to the men of understanding, nor yet favor to the skillful. When I was considering this, I remember Academic Staff Union of Nigeria, how they put in a lot, but their take home is not sufficient to take them home. The Vice Chancellor, sir, ladies and gentlemen, Despite these paradoxical behaviors, every individual does not respond to paradoxical situations in the same way. There's what we call individual differences, and that is the main concern of psychologists. We believe that people are not the same, and people will not respond in the same way. And we have this knowledge also in the industrial setting. And I want to take you through a story. Please listen carefully. I will try to be as fast as possible. The story is about two men or two boys or brothers who graduated from the school. They got employment in a particular institution, in a particular establishment. And later, the elder brother was promoted, while the younger was not promoted. And as the younger was not promoted, he felt that he was cheated, that there was favoritism in the organization. He wanted to resign. But the head of the unit said, don't resign, I'll just give you an assignment, and after it you can decide. And what was the assignment? He said, go and find out if anyone is selling watermelons in town, because their production has to do with use of watermelons. So he went out and he came back. He said, yes, there is someone. The manager asked, how much is a kilogram of watermelon? He drove back again to the town and then asked, and he came back. He said, oh, this is the amount, 13.50 rupees per kg. He said, fine, I will send your elder brother to do the same. And he sent the elder brother who went out. Remember, the same task was given to them. When the elder brother came, he said, manager, there's only one person selling watermelons in the whole town. Each watermelon costs 49 rupees and 32.50 rupees for a half melon. He sells them at 13.50 per kg rupees. He has in his stock 93 melons, each one weighing about 7 kilograms. He has a farm and can supply us with melons for the next 4 months at a rate of 132 melons per day at 27 rupees per melon. This includes delivery. The melons appear fresh and red with good quality, and they taste better than the others we sold last year. He has his own slicing machine and is willing to slice for us free of charge. We need a strike to deal with him before 10 a.m. tomorrow, and he will be sure of beating last year's profit in melons by 223 rupees. This will contribute positively to our overall performance, as it will lead to a minimum of 3.78% to our current overall sales target. I have put this information down in writing and it's available on spreadsheet. Please let me know if you need it, as I can send it to you in 15 minutes. When the younger brother heard this, he accepted the defeat. He said, now I know that I am not qualified for what I am vying for. The implication is this: when you are working in an organization, do not just disregard people's complaints. Listen to their complaints and see how you can cognitively present a situation that will make them also cognitively assess or analyze the information. At the end, they will accept what you have said. A student came to my office, said he teaches marketing in a polytechnic, and he said he was surprised at the score he had. I brought his scripts. I explained to him. At the end, he did not complain. He just left my office. Thank you, sir. That is how to settle confusions. Now, what is the secret behind these two persons? Two persons, they went to the same environment, the same instruction of what they will do, what is responsible. The difference between both of them, they had the same hard skills, but they did not have the same soft skills. They tell us the importance of soft skills in whatever we do. What is hard skills? Hard skills are specific teachable abilities that are needed for jobs and acquired through education and training. And unfortunately, most times in our teaching system, we tend to emphasize hard skills with less emphasis on soft skills. It describes what an individual can acquire in the form of certificates. And most times when there are advertisements, it is this hard skill you present. With this hard skill, definitely you will be qualified to be invited for interview. But at the scene of interview, hard skill cannot make you to be successful. When you are working in the organization, hard skill might not be able to carry you through. When you are seeking for promotion, hard skill might not be able to carry you through. That's why at times, when some people graduate with the first class, I say, you will be a lecturer. I say, not necessarily. Your first class is just a hard skill. You have the cognitive knowledge. But ability of passing, disseminating information about that knowledge to other people, the person might not have it. Why? Because the person might lack soft skill. So having a first class, for instance, we are not discouraging it, but you need to develop your soft skill so that you become useful to the society. What is soft skill? Soft skills are what applicants carry and display at interview settings. Usually, it's not displayed on the CV, but it could be discovered during interview. It could be discovered when you interact with people. I remember a student who was very poor with his results. When I gave an assignment and they had to defend it, the way he defended it, I was determined in my mind that this student cannot fail. Why? Because there was demonstration of soft skills. So soft skills are personal qualities and interpersonal attributes which people have, like communication, teamwork, empathy, critical thinking, and emotional intelligence. Collaboration. You can't collaborate with people just only with your hard skill. You have to develop the soft skill. Even in leadership, you can't be a good leader if you are not versatile in soft skill. Building relationships. You can build relationships better when you have soft skills. So you need soft skills to succeed in life. So soft skills are hard skills are what you do, whereas soft skills are how you do. What you do and how you do, they are not the same. Look at the actors, those who act play. Give two persons the same script. One will just say it the way it was read. Another will say it by including some emotions. It's just like if you want to greet someone and say, good morning. And another says, good morning. It's the same good morning, but said in a different way. Why? Because of the presence of soft skill, which is emotional intelligence in this content. So soft skills are the unique selling point that gives a person a competitive edge in the workplace. If you want to excel in whatever you do, ensure that you develop your soft skills. Soft skills is also related to emotional intelligence. But at the last lecture, the third lecture, I will explain in detail what emotional intelligence is all about and how to develop these skills. But maybe for the time being, let me just mention some of the skills involved, relationship between soft skills and emotional intelligence. Self-awareness. Someone who is emotionally intelligent would have accurate understanding of their strengths and weaknesses. If you have the soft skill, you know the extent, you know what you can do and what you cannot do. Also, is self-regulation. You're able to control your responses under pressure. Some people, they get easily infiltrated. But someone who has these soft skills of emotional intelligence would not. And such people have the internal drive. They can pursue whatever they desire. They persevere without getting discouraged. There's also a show of empathy. You consider people's situation and try to relate to them in the same way that will make them psychologically balanced. They also have effective communication. Now, there's need for us to understand behavior, especially as we are discussing paradoxical behaviors. Understanding behavior requires some knowledge of some psychological theories that help you to understand behavior. One of these theories I want to present is what we call attribution theory by Heger. Attribution is the process that we use to explain our own and others' behavior. In attribution theories, we try to explain people's behavior and our behaviors from two perspectives. One is from internal perspective, which is the dispositional aspect, by explaining people's behavior based on what is in them, what is inherent in them. Things like personality traits, things like ability and effort. But external or situational factors is when you look at the environment. You consider law, tax difficulty, and so on. Most times, when an individual wants to explain his or her success, he attributes it to internal factors. I worked hard. But when they fail, they want to attribute it to external factors. Look at what this young man said. Initially he said, there was favoritism. But when he was exposed to the truth, he admitted that he lacks the ability, he lacks the source. But when they are interpreting other people's successes, they attribute it to external factors. Hey, he succeeded. I know why now. She knows that lecturer. It's the lecturer that gave her the mark. It's not as if she is. They attribute it. But when such individuals fail, they attribute it to that. That one is NFA does not read. In psychology, what we do is to combine these two sources of information to decipher, to interpret, to adjudge, to modify, as well as predicting behavior, considering the two factors. You can remember the story of the lady who embezzled money with a jam office, and at the end there was attribution. It was a serpent. And Eve, when she committed her offense, it was the serpent. Most times we want to attribute failures to external factors, and that is what we also refer to as locus of control. How do you interpret what happens to you? I was just taking a critical look at the political dispensation in our present time. I have seen that in the present political terrain, there seems to be most of our politicians cleaving towards a particular political party. They don't bother to even satisfy the electorate. They are not creative enough to see how they can put up performances that will encourage people voting for them. But what are they considering now? There's a political party. Once you get to that political party, you have already won election. This is not good enough for Nigeria. And this brings my thoughts, might not be exactly the same, but it's just my reasoning. From what I read in Revelation 13:7, it says that no man might buy or sell, save he that has the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. And I'm saying, this does it mean this political party is not taking that position? Whereby if you want to succeed, you have to be part of it. I'm not making reference to any political party. I said to the political party. Now we move on to another psychological analysis of paradoxical behavior. In the psychoanalytical explanation, specifically psychodynamic explanation of personality, three factors are considered as making an individual's personality. These are the id, the ego, and the superego. The id is that aspect that constitutes an individual's instinctive drives. The id is that seeks for immediate gratification, and it develops from early childhood. That's why a child needs anything, the child continues to cry. If a child is pressed, even right now, the child will want to pass out his or her urine here. Why? Because the child is under the influence of the id impulse. But as an individual grows, what we call the superego tends to have some influences on the individual. The superego is that aspect that constitutes the laws, the norms, the rules of the parents, of the society, of the religious group. And the rules only say you are not supposed to do this here. Like the child, you are not supposed to ease yourself here, but you need to do it outside. As people grow up, there tend to be a suppression of the id impulse. Why? Because they are considering the superego influences. And the superego is divided into two, the conscience and the ego ideal. The conscience is that part of personality that develops when an individual is growing and he or she receives punishment for wrongdoing. As the person grows, he does not need an external person to correct him or her. He or she develops it and corrects it. Then the ego ideal is that aspect of the superego that encourages, that rewards an individual when you do what is right. So as the individual grows, he does not depend on an external factor, he does not depend on reward, he does not depend on that political party that will make them to win. The individual rewards self when he or she does what is right. If you are a politician, you do what is right, you will receive your reward because the electorate will want to vote for you. Now, these two are always at conflict. And this conflict is that one is fighting against the other. It is not too different from what is written in Galatians chapter 6 verse 17 in the Bible. It says, for the flesh lusteth against the spirit, and the spirit against the flesh, and these are contrary the one to the other, so that ye cannot do the things that ye would. And I remember my Sunday school teacher who would say, all these bad things, when there's a voice coming, it is the voice of the devil. That's the id impulse. He will say, go and do it, go and do it. But a silent voice will say, my son, don't do it. It is bad. And that is the superego that is in operation. Based on this, we see that in organizations, some adults, some employees are still being directed by the id impulse. In other words, they want to gratify the needs of the id. And that is what leads to counterproductive work behavior. There are several counterproductive work behaviors, but I will just mention 5. One is the production deadlines. behavior which is intentionally performing work inefficiently or incorrectly. There are some people even in UI, they will not want to work according to their ability. They want to reduce it. And let me say this as an example. In my department some time ago, those who are very much hardworking, every HOD that is coming, we want to appoint them director of a program. And some got the secret. They said, it's because I am doing it well. That is why they are always assigning me. They started withdrawing. And when they were not doing it well again, other HODs did not appoint them. So some people decide to become inefficient. They engage in behaviors like wastage of time, excessive breaks, they are always on break, they deliberately work slowly, they neglect tasks, and they engage in digital loafing. At the time they are supposed to be working, they are engaged in internet activities. Then we have number 2, property deviance. This has to do with organizational property through damaging or stealing organizational property. That is still dangerous. You say, go and take those papers, go and take those pens, and they go and take it, and then they come back the next day. Actually, the papers are finished. But I got this not quite long. We have been printing this exam time. Is it actually exam that made these things to disappear? It is theft, because they are gratifying the aid impulse. We also have political deviance, which has to do with interpersonal and organizational politics, behaving in ways that are seen as unfair or manipulative within the workplace. Some people engage in organizational politics. What do? They gossip. They carry matter from one place to the other. And some leaders, they show favoritism. Those who give you all those information that might not be correct, they are the people that are favored in the organization. They spread rumors and they engage in uncivil behaviors. We have the third one, which is personal aggression. This has to do with interpersonal harm, where they direct attacks on harmful behaviors, targeting co-workers or supervisors. Some people are always ready to fight, even in the workplace. Some students also, they are ready to fight, even though the institution does not allow. I remember my undergraduate days, 2 guys, they had some contradictions. And one said, I will beat you. The other said, come and try it. And those around said, you can beat him. Beating is allowed. Fighting is not allowed. And he actually beat him. And at the end, he was bleeding. These are some of the behaviors, unethical behaviors, counterproductive behaviors in the organization. Lastly, we have the withdrawal behaviors, which is employees disengaging from work or the organization. Behaviors like absenteeism, tardiness, leaving early from work, excessive absenteeism, giving fake illnesses. These are behaviors that are demonstrations of the presence of the id impulse in an individual. Are you here today? What type of behaviors do you put up? If you put up this type of behaviors, it means you are still behaving like that child who is influenced by id impulse. But an individual who considers more of the superego engages in what we call organizational citizenship behavior. This behavior has to do with discriminatory and voluntary behavior of doing even what you are not paid to do. The organization does not pay you to do this. Because you felt that these things should be done orderly, they go about doing it. I'm proud to say in my faculty, in this of I have one worker, I won't mention the name, he engages in organizational citizenship behavior. He does his job, he does other person's job, and I feel so happy with him. When I see him, I feel happy. Why don't you make your supervisors? Why don't you make your heads? Why don't you make those who are in control of your organization to feel happy at all times because you are engaging in organizational citizenship behaviors? What are these behaviors which is influenced under super-ego? One is helping behavior. You go about helping people even when they do not request. Conscientiousness, you follow the rules as stipulated in the organization, not doing what Adam and Eve did. You avoid trouble. Anything that will lead to trouble, you try to calm down. Then you manage time effectively. Don't waste time unduly. Another organizational citizenship behavior is courtesy. Courtesy is when you prevent problem and you share information, correct information amongst people. The fourth is sportsmanship. Sportsmanship is when you tolerate. There are less complaints. Some people are good at complaining. They never see something good, especially with their boss. Today is this, tomorrow is this. And when they come to make complaints, they don't provide solutions. It's only to complain and go away. What solution do you have? I don't know, but it's just what I have seen. That becomes paradoxical for the leader. We also have civic virtue, attending meetings, staying informed, and acting as ambassadors for the organization. Some of us, we find it difficult to attend meetings. I see how I want to go quickly. We also have what we call the paradox of AI in the workplace. AI is what we are all living to now, but it is also paradoxical because of the advantages and disadvantages. One of the issues is disruption versus opportunity. AI is seen as both a threat to existing jobs. People are feeling that by the time work is automated, it is likely that there will be a reduction in the number of people in the organization. It's also a creator of new opportunities that add both positive and negative variances. It is positive because you have opportunity of advancing your skills. But the disadvantage is that it is discouraging people from exploring their cognitive potentials, which is not too good. These days, ask a small child or even undergraduate, 2 times 3, they pick the calculator to calculate 2 times 3. It's not good enough. Automation and stagnation and over-reliance on AI tools for cognitive tasks risk stagnation. That's just what I've explained. Human creativity is being delayed, and problem-solving abilities is being lost as a result of this. Then there is also productivity paradox issue, whereby people are investing in technology, but immediately they are not getting the gains. What we suggest, therefore, is human-AI collaboration. Human-AI collaboration is partnership where humans and AI work together to achieve shared goals, and the AI augmenting human capabilities. This approach will combine both human creativity, critical thinking, and context with AI speed, data processing, and the like. In our educational system, we also have some challenges which are paradoxical. In our environment, where educated individuals, they lack practical skills for available jobs. The challenges and opportunities presented by AI is almost being replicated. Today we have students and graduates. When they get out there to work, some employers will say you don't have the requisite skill or knowledge for working here. Nigeria produces a significant number of graduates annually, yet the businesses are reporting struggling to find employable professionals. I remember someone some time ago was saying, what type of graduates are you people producing? That you give them issues in the organization, they cannot relate what they have learned to what they are now expected to do. So we want to encourage teachers and curriculum developers to ensure that there's an integration, synergy of theory and practice. And one of the ways we try to do it in school, in the universities, we don't just ask exam questions that will require cognitive intelligence. Ask exam questions that will also involve soft skills. And how you do it is trying to ask questions that will require application of the knowledge to real life situations. Some students don't like it, but that is what will make them to develop and relate well with the environment when they graduate. Finally, workplace performance. In all these we are saying, paradoxical behaviors have both positive and negative outcomes. But what is important is how to help the employees to identify paradoxical situations and how they can capitalize on it and bring out good results. And that is why we encourage for 3 factors that would help to enhance workplace performance based on a human resource knowledge. Ability. Ability has to do with skills, knowledge, and competence required to perform a particular job. When you employ people, do not employ them because they came from your village. Do not employ them because they have been asking you for lots of money. You just want to ease them out. It will be destructive and disruptive to the organization. Try to employ people who have skills, people who have knowledge, people who have competence, requisite skills for a particular job, and get them in. Then you begin to expect some results. In terms of motivation, there is a need for incentives to be emphasized in organizations. It will help people to be motivated in doing things. Then the environment is also essential. Create an enduring environment that will help people to endure. That is why the Academic Staff Union of universities in Nigeria have been emphasizing the teaching environment is not encouraging. When you go out and you teach there, you come back, it becomes difficult for you to adapt to our teaching system. I was telling my students, teaching them statistics, we don't have the computer, we don't have SPSS program for practicals. I said, if you go outside because the university does not make provision. I remember where I taught in the US, they had laboratory, computer laboratory. Each student has access, they have the key to these laboratories. They go there at their convenience and they are able to manipulate these things. When can we get there? Even in the University of Ibadan, it's not actually the problem of the Vice Chancellor, but just to let the Vice Chancellor know. If in UI, two things are put in place: electricity and internet facility. There won't be the paradox of, should I stay home today or I should go to the office? People want to come to the office only when they have lectures. If electricity is always there, you know you enjoy your AC. Internet facility is there, you enjoy this facility. The lecturers will always find themselves to the office. And when they come to the office, the students will have access to them. And when the students have access to them, there will be improvement in the standard of education in Nigeria. On this note, I want to say there is green light for the University of Ibadan. I want to appreciate quickly people who have contributed to my coming here today. I want to appreciate the Vice Chancellor and management once again for this opportunity they've given to me. I want to appreciate the staff and students of Faculty of the Social Sciences, especially the planning committee led by Professor James Tayo. I want to appreciate staff and students of the Department of Psychology, led by Professor O.B Ehigie. I also, in absentia, but I think they are online, I want to appreciate my graduates from Benue State University, Makurdi, and Covenant University. Even though many of them have graduated, every year I receive tubers of yam from these people. I want to appreciate the Ajangoju Residents Association, where my abode is. I want to appreciate the clergy and clergy wives of Ibadan Anglican Diocese that are here. In particular, I want to appreciate members from Anglican Church of the Ascension, Atobo, Anglican Church of the Messiah, Bodija, also Church Bodija, Assaviors Anglican Church, Samanda, Church of the Transfiguration, Kolara, Chapel of the Holy Ghost, Bishop Palace, and Assaviors Anglican Church, IITA, where I am presently the resident vicar. I also want to appreciate Ibadan Varsity Christian Union, IVC, Alumni Association. I want to appreciate, here I have my mother-in-law, who took the pain of coming all the way from Benin. I want to appreciate the Orina family and Mrs. Orina, who engineered the presence of the family here. I also want to appreciate my family, the Ehigie Awosila family, represented by Mr. and Mrs. Joshua and Peace Alasana, all the way from Lokoja. And I will not fail to appreciate my father in the Lord, the most Reverend Dr. Joseph O. Akintola. Finally, I want to appreciate my children who have been very supportive. Testimony, overcomer, victory, and evidence. Thank you for a lot of running rounds. And finally, the joy I have is I am a married man. It's good to be married. In fact, when I discovered I would be delivering this lecture, there was a paradox. Should I accept or I should reject? I got home, my wife encouraged me, and that is why I accepted. But along the line, as I was absent from the bed, and I was always on the table, she will always come, home and sleep. I said, but you are the one that said I should accept. Thank you very much, my wife, my darling, my sister, for that which you have done that made me to be here today. Finally, the distant learning students.